I still remember the first time I set foot in Olorun's hollow. The village was barely a whisper on any map, hidden deep within the dense, ancient forest of western Nigeria. It was a place no traveler reached by chance, and few who came ever left with a tale they dared to speak. I arrived in Olorun's hollow in search of stories. As a historian and journalist, I had spent my life documenting forgotten places and lost traditions. An old professor at my university had once mentioned the village in passing, calling it a place swallowed by time. That phrase had stayed with me, an itch that refused to fade. So, when an opportunity arose, I took the long journey, first by train, then by bus, and finally by foot, guided by an old hunter named Baba Kofi. People don't go there, Baba Kofi warned as we trekked through the thick vegetation. Not unless they have a reason, or a calling. His voice was low, almost lost in the rustling leaves. What happened there? I asked, my curiosity overriding caution. Baba Kofi merely shook his head. You see, the first thing I noticed about Olorun's hollow was its silence. It was an unnatural quiet, the kind that made the air feel heavy. No children's laughter, no bustling market, not even the rhythmic pounding of yam in mortars. The few villagers we passed glanced at me briefly, then quickly averted their eyes. The huts were made of reddish-brown clay, their thatched roofs worn but steady. A great baobab tree stood at the village's center, its gnarled roots spreading like the fingers of a forgotten god. I was led to the home of the village elder, Mama Fadi. She was a woman of many years, her eyes cloudy yet sharp. She welcomed me without expression, motioning for me to sit on a woven mat. You are here for stories, she said after a long silence. It was not a question. Yes, Mama. She studied me, as if weighing something unseen. Then, she began. Long ago, Olorun's hollow was not hidden. It was a place of song and celebration, where the people were prosperous and proud. But pride is a dangerous thing. We were blessed with a sacred grove, a place where the spirits of our ancestors dwell. The grove was tended by the chosen, those born with the gift of sight. For centuries, they kept a balance between the living and the dead. She paused, her fingers tracing patterns on the mat. But there came a time when one of the chosen, Oba, a young man of great ambition, defied the warnings of the elders. He wished to harness the power of the spirits for himself. He entered the grove on the forbidden night of the moonless sky, seeking knowledge that was never meant for mortal hands. I felt a chill creep over me as she spoke. What happened to him? Mama Fadig's lips pressed together. No one knows. Some say the spirits took him, others say he became something else, something that still lingers in the grove. But from that night forward, the village began to change. Crops failed, the rivers dried, the laughter of children faded, and one by one, people began to leave. Those who stayed learned not to speak of Oba or the grove. My chest tightened. And the spirits? They watch, she whispered. They listen, and they never forget. That night, I lay awake in my small hut, the weight of Mama Fadig's words pressing against my thoughts. The silence outside was absolute, yet I felt something beyond it, an unseen presence moving between the trees, just beyond the edges of my sight. In the days that followed, I tried to ask more villagers about the story, but they avoided my questions. Even Baba Kofi, who had guided me here, refused to speak of it. The only clue I received was from an old woman who whispered as she passed me in the narrow pathways, "Do not go to the grove, not when the moon is gone." But curiosity is a dangerous thing. And so, on the night of the new moon, I went. The path to the grove was overgrown, as though the forest itself wished to swallow it. My lantern flickered as I moved forward, the air thick with an eerie stillness. The baobab trees loomed like silent sentinels. Then, I saw it, the remnants of ancient carvings on the back of the trees, symbols older than the village itself. A whisper called through the air, neither male nor female, neither kind nor cruel. I felt something unseen brush against my skin, cold as the grave. The air crackled, and the shadows moved in ways they should not have. And then, I saw him, Oba, or what was left of him. His form was neither living nor dead, his face shifting like mist in the dark. He reached out, his fingers stretching toward me, and I felt the pull of something deep, something vast and endless. I turned and ran. I ran without stopping, without breath, without thought, until I reached my hut. The silence had returned, but now it was a knowing silence, one that carried the weight of a forgotten past. By dawn, I had packed my belongings. Baba Kofi was waiting outside, his eyes dark with understanding. "You saw," he said simply. I nodded. We left Olorun's hollow without a word. As we emerged from the forest, the village seemed to fold into the trees, disappearing as though it had never been there at all. I have never spoken of what I saw that night, not in print, not in stories, until now, because some places are not meant to be remembered, and some stories are meant to stay hidden. But every now and then, when the moon is new, I feel the whisper of something watching, waiting, and I know Olorun's hollow has not forgotten me.